This is Seven's Afternoon News with Robert Ovadia.
Good afternoon. Islamic leaders have put on a show of force today ahead of a planned rally in Sydney tonight outside a mosque. They've told extremists to leave Australia if they do not like it here. Live coverage in just a moment. A coroner has handed down his findings on why an entire family was killed on a rural property. The driver, fined for a sexist slur against an all-female racing team, is facing further action after it was discovered he had made comments about them before. And a military man who stopped a terrorist attack has himself come under attack and is now seriously ill in hospital. Jim.
Thank you, Rob. In sport, a new coach for the Adelaide Crows, also qualifying at Bathurst, plus A-League, and Jordan too good for the Socceroos in their World Cup qualifier. Angie.
And on the weather front, after a couple of milder days, temperatures are on the rise again this weekend. More detail in 10 minutes.
Police are due to speak in Sydney shortly ahead of a planned protest outside Parramatta Mosque. It follows the murder this time last week of a police force accountant by a 15-year-old boy armed with a handgun. He had just left the mosque. Alex Hart is there. Alex, what's the mood like?
Rob, it is quite tense down here at the moment. In the past half hour or so, we've had police move into position, dozens of them in fact. We've got police vehicles at either end of Marsden Street here in Parramatta, where the Parramatta Mosque is, and shortly there'll be riot squad officers moving into position at either side of this street. They're going to separate the protesters, with the pro-Islamic group on my right and the anti-Islamic group on my left, doing everything they can to ensure this protest doesn't turn violent. This protest, the application for it was actually rejected, but that hasn't stopped organisers pushing ahead with it. We've had officers out in force throughout the day in this area as a handful of protesters took to the streets early. A call to arms for anti-Islamic protesters until police are called in.
They're just giving us lift home for our public safety.
Their views were clearly not tolerated on the streets of Western Sydney.
I'm not afraid, I'll stand up for what I believe in.
At a time of heightened terrorism fears, police fear a violent confrontation outside Sydney's Parramatta Mosque. Mosque chairman Neil El Kadomi has his own message.
We must stand united to protect our youth. Any act of violence, regardless of motivation, will not be tolerated.
15-year-old Farhad Jabbar worshipped in this room last Friday before executing police accountant Curtis Cheng outside the force's headquarters. Islam's Grand Mufti is calling for a calm response.
What we need is collaboration and proper communication between the families and the community and us.
A sentiment echoed by our nation's leaders.
Mutual respect is fundamental to our harmony as a multicultural society.
I believe that Australians, it doesn't matter what religion, if you really hate Australia, well then you should go.
At the place where Mr Cheng was murdered, members of the Indian Sikh community paid their respects.
We just wanted to show our support for Mr Cheng's family and New South Wales Police.
Calling on people of all faiths and backgrounds to come together.
And a police press conference is underway right now with Superintendent Wayne Cost.